Angus Taylor, welcome to the program.
Good to be with you, David.
So, when you replaced Susan Lee, you said it was a change or die moment for the Liberal Party. When you look at those sort of figures, is that change or is that die?
Well, David, I knew that there was always going to be a big mountain to climb in Farah and more generally. Clearly, we had breached trust with the Australian people and our supporters with 2 coalition breakups in less than a year. You can breach trust quickly and it takes time to rebuild, and we know that, but we are rebuilding, and our focus on getting immigration policy, the integrity of our immigration system right in this country, making sure we have affordable, abundant energy in our country, making sure that we've got an economy that works for Australians, is going to restore Australian standard of living as we protect our way of life. These are the priorities. I recognise it'll take time for people to come back, but we are going to keep working, as we're seeing Raisa and Brad do in Farah right now, to get back to where we need to be to win an election, and most importantly, to get rid of a rotten Labor government.
It does look like One Nation will win this by-election with the help of preferences from the Liberal Party. Why is the Liberal Party preferencing One Nation?
Well, can I say we want first preferences, and we are preferencing the National Party second, and that's as it should be.
But One Nation
can I say this is a very important point. We have re-established the coalition, a strong coalition, since Matt and I have been in the job, and we know that is absolutely crucial to regain the trust of people in Farah and right across Australia, and that is a very important decision we have made to preference each other. Look, at the end of the day, we want first preferences. When we look at the other parties, the truth is that the Teals have consistently in the Parliament, the vast majority of the time, voted with the Greens. And in a place like Farah, that's going to be bad for the economy, it's going to be bad for agriculture and agricultural communities and access to water, it's going to be bad for fuel and energy security and abundance, and we need all of those things in Farah if we're going to have a successful region.
Okay, but I should point out Michelle Milford says she's not a Teal, she's wants to stop the water buybacks and so on. So you think preferencing One Nation, and given this would be a watershed moment if they were to win for the first time a lower house seat from the Liberals, you think preferencing One Nation ahead of the Independent is a good idea?
Well, as I said, we've got a Teal, a group of Teals in this Parliament that are trashing our energy system, are ready and have been trashing access to water and the strength of our agricultural communities, and we simply cannot endorse that. They vote with the Greens the majority of the time.
So the One Nation is superior to that.
This is the incredibly important point. If you vote Teal, you get Green. If you vote Teal, you get Green. And so whilst preferences beyond preferencing the National Party are picking the least worst option, and we want people to vote for the Liberal Party and the National Party. The truth is that we don't want to see Teal policies for Farah or for this country.
Do you want to see One Nation policies? Because if you vote One Nation...
We want to see coalition policies.
I understand that, but to your point, if you vote Teal, you get Green. If you vote One Nation, what do you get?
Well, as I say, these are you choose the least worst option when you get to preferencing, and the least worst option of all is the National Party for the Liberal Party's point of view, and we want to see a coalition in government again. Look, ultimately, the only way we're going to get rid of this rotten Labor government that is trashing our economy, trashing our budget, trashing our energy system, trashing agriculture in this country, is to get a coalition government into place, and that means voting for the Liberal and National Party. So that's what we're fighting.
You don't think One Nation poses an existential threat to regional seats for the coalition, though?
Well, I think Teal policies, Labor policies, are absolutely existential for the regions, and we're seeing the Labor government right now, if you get out into these regions, you see what it's doing to them. I mean, right now, people are scared about getting access to the diesel they need to plant their crops, to run the trucks that are so crucial for those regional areas. I mean, we are seeing the impact of this, and this is why, in the end, we need a coalition government to get rid of a bad Labor government.
So Pauline Hanson is actually going to be here in Canberra today. She's addressing a rally calling for an end to mass migration. Do you agree with Pauline Hanson on migration?
Well, there's some things we might agree on. I'm sure there's things we don't agree on.
Migration?
But I'll tell you what, tell you where I start on this, is migration numbers in this country have been too high and standards have been too low, David. And the integrity of the system has not been what it needs to be. The numbers have been absolutely unprecedented. Over 500,000, almost 540,000 in a single year.
It's come down since then.
Well, but let's be clear, it's still way above Labor's own targets.
So has Pauline Hanson got it right?
Well, can I just get to what is wrong, and then we can talk about what is right. Just on the current run rate, we're running at about 80,000 a year above Labor's own targets. Every budget has been wrong. So what do we need? We need lower numbers and we need higher standards. And that's why we've announced our Australian Values First immigration policy that will put Australian values, our Australian Values Statement, at the heart of our immigration legislation, our immigration policy, putting up the red light to radicals, and at the same time shutting the door to people abusing the system.
In that migration policy, when you delivered the speech announcing all of this, there was a line that really jumped out. You said that those who migrate from liberal democracies have a greater likelihood of subscribing to Australian values. There are a lot of migrants who come from countries that aren't liberal democracies who might disagree with you. Are migrants from China, from Vietnam, less likely to fit in than British migrants? Is that what you're saying?
No, David, many good people come from bad countries. Let's be clear. Some of the great Australians have come from countries that were bad countries at the time. But there is a higher risk that some bad people come from those bad countries.
You're saying that...
And so what we have to do is we have to screen not based on country of origin, not based on religion, not based on race, but based on values.
So which are the bad countries?
Fundamental.
Are you saying China is a bad country, or?
Well, look, we've seen bad countries around the world. I mean, to claim that Iran is a good country right now, seriously, and the government itself has put legislation in place to make it harder for people to come from Iran. We have seen terrible acts of atrocity coming from Gaza. I mean, we know there in the Middle East and elsewhere there are countries that have committed great atrocities on their own populations. And so there is real risk with people coming from those countries. It's also true that many great Australians have come from bad countries. And this is why the discrimination shouldn't be based on race or religion. It must be based on Australian values.
You're suggesting it's based also on bad countries, is this language you're using now. Just back to the question. Are you saying China?
Are you saying Iran is a good country?
No, I'm asking, is China a bad country? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm not saying that, but are you saying Iran is a good country, David? Let's be clear. We need to discriminate right now based on people who accept our core values. Now, they're in our value statement now. They're in our citizenship ceremonies now.
So Iran's a bad country. What are the other bad countries you're talking about? Should people be worried if they've come from a certain country that's not a liberal democracy?
No, we should be focused on people who accept Australian values, and it should be intelligence-driven and risk-based. Right. So if we've got a part of the world where we know the risks are higher, then the screens should appropriately take account of that. Now,
so it doesn't matter what the country is.
And it needs to be intelligence-based, but this is based on the individual, David. Not on the country.
Okay.
It's based on the individual, and this is the crucial point. We are not proposing discrimination based on race or religion. We are proposing discrimination based on acceptance
so it doesn't matter
parliamentary
if it's a good
democracy,
or a bad country.
The rule of law, our system of law, our basic freedoms. If someone wants to come here and overturn our democracy or doesn't believe in our system of law, I think most Australians would agree with me, they shouldn't be coming to the country, and if they get here, their visas should be cancelled.
Okay. Just coming back to the question on migration, though, about Pauline Hanson. Has she got it right or wrong?
Well, I don't really understand what her policies are because they change from day to day, David.
You're reluctant to call her out?
Well, I mean, give me a specific policy and I can talk about it. But
she says she wants to end mass migration. She says she wants 130,000 cap. Is that right?
Well, can I say migration numbers have been too high. They've been higher than Labor's own targets by a long way.
Is 130,000 about right?
People. Well, 1.4 million people in 3.5 years. Is that too high? Absolutely, it is. It's too high on Labor's own numbers. We have to get back to a sustainable level. It has to be in line with the housing infrastructure and services we have in this country. And so the numbers are too high, just as the standards have been too low.
The ABC's revealed a group of Australian women and children connected to ISIS fighters have now left the Al-Roj camp in Syria. They are set to be deported this time, according to Syrian authorities. They're trying to return to Australia, of course. Got some pictures of them here. What would you do to stop these Australian citizens returning to Australia?
Well, can I say, David, these are people who have left this country to be part of the Islamic State caliphate. That Islamic State, ISIS, is a terrorist organisation. It is a terrorist act to support them, a terrorist offence to support them. Frankly, we have to put Australian interests and Australian security first. And that means the government should be doing everything it possibly can to not accept these people back into the country. Now, it's clear that they have been providing assistance, whether it's through issuing and distributing passports, whether it's doing DNA tests, whether indeed it is supporting third parties to do the repatriation. We put a bill to the Parliament which would prevent that from happening, and the government rejected that bill. So there is much they can do, and we've put forward very practical, sensible things that can be done, including that bill to the Parliament.
So you don't think
that's been rejected by the government?
They shouldn't have been issued passports?
Well, I'm saying that the government should be making every possible effort to not accept these people back into the country. That includes both the issuing and distribution of passports where that's possible. There's obviously...
Is there a requirement to issue a passport to a citizen?
There's actually also a lot of discretion, or some discretion, with the minister, as there is with temporary exclusion orders. Only one temporary exclusion order has been issued. We don't know how recently security assessments have been done on these people. We know that there is a third party, a close colleague of Tony Burke, who is working hard to assist the repatriation of these people right now, and a bill went before the Parliament to prevent that from happening.
Okay, you're talking about Jamal Reef. He's not getting help from Tony Burke on this.
David, can I just pick you up on this?
Yeah, sure.
Because this is an important point. We put a bill to the Parliament that would have prevented that from happening. Labor rejected that bill.
Okay.
They rejected it outright. So they had the choice on this. They are supporting this activity of third parties to assist repatriation of these people.
ASIO says that it has assessed all of the adults in that, Australian adults in that camp. One of them, as you say, has been issued a temporary exclusion order. Are you saying that ASIO's taken its eye off the ball and can't manage this?
Well, all I am saying is that we need to know more about when the last security assessments were done, what we know from that, and why only one temporary exclusion order has been issued. And frankly, I think there's very serious questions around...
You don't think ASIO's on this?
Well, I don't think the government is on it. I don't think the government is on it.
We have security agencies to do this.
As I said, we gave the government a choice on this issue of third-party assistance.
Do you trust ASIO on this?
I don't trust the government.
Do you trust ASIO on this?
I don't trust the government.
Do you trust ASIO?
Well, in the end, it's the government that makes these decisions, and they are making decisions. And they had a decision in front of the Parliament where they rejected our legislation.
Let's turn to the oil crisis. The government has now underwritten 8 shipments of oil to come to Australia. It says we now have more supply in Australia than we did before this war began. Do you give them any credit for that?
Well, I hope we do have enough supply to get through it. We certainly would have been in a much more difficult situation without the refinery margin guarantee, without the minimum stockholding obligation that I put in place when I was minister. Reasonable questions about whether that's going far enough.
Is it? Do we need more?
Well, I want to see energy abundance. I want to see fuel abundance in this country. And I do think that means we have to identify and produce more oil and gas in this country. It does mean we want to have the stocks at a level that ensure we can get through weather a crisis.
So the best stocks of all, a bigger stockpile than we can have.
Well, the best stock of all is fuel under the ground that we can produce. That's not 30 days, that can be 30 years. That's the best stock of all, and that's why getting access to upstream oil and gas, when the government has put legislation through the Parliament that explicitly discriminates against oil and gas production in this country, makes it harder. Well, we want that changed.
As you know, the criticism is that it's too expensive to actually extract that oil and turn it into fuel here. It's light crude, that you'd need to still import heavy crude. Would you need a big taxpayer subsidy to make that stack up?
Can I say, the starting point here, David, is just to not make it hard. to not make it more expensive. I mean, the government has put a tax on refineries through the safeguard mechanism. That's what they've done. It's a carbon tax on industry through the safeguard mechanism. The government has made it harder to get approvals for upstream oil and gas. The government trashed the storage investments that we were making in fuel security in this country.
Of course, it points out that you wanted to keep the storage in Texas, but anyway, bottom line, this is
that's nonsense. But anyway, go on.
Well, you did keep the
well, and we sold it to bring it back to Australia because there wasn't enough storage. Okay. Meanwhile, we put a storage program in place, and the government trashed it because at the end of the day, they have never been focused on fuel security. Chris Bowen has never been focused on fuel security until he discovered that there was a fuel crisis weeks after the fuel crisis started.
Bottom line, this whole crisis has been created by the war in Iran. Your colleague Andrew Hastie called it a huge miscalculation. Do you agree Donald Trump's made a big mistake here?
Well, I'm not going to get into commentary on, major leaders like Donald Trump.
You're not willing to call out Donald Trump?
Well, what I will say is what we want to see, David, is an opening of the Strait of Hormuz.
Is this war a mistake? Are you willing to say the war's a mistake?
Well, I'm not going to get into commentary on this. What I do know is Iran is a bad country. It is. It kills its own people, David. That is a bad country.
Sure.
And I think it is reasonable for freedom-loving countries like ours to call out the bad behaviour of those countries. But I tell you what I want to see most of all, an opening up of the Strait of Hormuz. Because if we don't get that, we are going to continue to see high petrol prices and diesel prices at the Bowser, high jet fuel costs for when you fly around this country, and we need that brought down.
We are a couple of weeks out from the budget. Looks like the government will wind back some of the tax breaks for property investors. There are mixed views, it seems, amongst Liberals on this as well. Again, Andrew Hastie on this program was open to it. Are you?
Well, what I want to see is more homes built in this country, more investment, successful housing completions in this country. And those numbers, again, Labor has absolutely failed. About 70,000 less than their own targets. Their 1.2 million house target, they're not even going to get close, David. No one thinks they're even going to get close. If you've got immigration that's 80,000 a year above its target and housing 70,000 a year below the target.
Okay, but on these taxes...
No, well, this is crucial. You're going to have a housing crisis, and we do. And young Australians are saying, I can't buy a home.
So would you vote against any change to negative gearing in capital gains tax?
What I am saying is if you want more houses, don't impose additional taxes on houses. If you want more of something, you don't
What if
need
you
an
want
extra
fewer
tax.
investors? What if we don't want more investors? What if we want more owner-occupiers?
I just want more houses built. That's the starting point, because young Australians, whether it's trying to rent a home or buy a home, it is a battle.
And so I'm still unclear. Would you vote against any change to these taxes?
Well, at the moment, we've got about a thought bubble a day about what they're going to be, David. So I'm not going to speculate on specifics.
So you're keeping an open mind on this?
No, I am saying I want more houses.
Understand
the test
that,
here...
But you're not saying whether you would vote against changes to negative gearing and capital gains
David,
tax.
you get the government to give a specific policy which lasts more than about 24 hours and I'll consider comment. Right. But the principle is the crucial point here. The principle is we need more homes built, and if you want more homes built, don't whack another tax on it. Okay. If you want less of something, tax it. If you want more of something, take taxes off. Government, they talk about reform. We need a restoration of standard of living in this country. Every measure in the budget should be measured against, is it going to improve our standard of living? Is it going to improve productivity and competitiveness in this country? And I tell you what, raising taxes on homes doesn't strike me as the way to get more homes built.
Just a final question. Those Anzac Day dawn services yesterday, there was some booing of the Welcome to Country ceremony. Peter Dutton, a year ago when this happened, said it was a disgrace. But then a few days later, he argued that Welcome to Country ceremonies shouldn't happen on Anzac Day. Where do you stand?
Well, can I say that booing, whatever the cause, on Anzac Day and Anzac Day ceremonies is absolutely inappropriate and un-Australian. And it shouldn't happen. It simply shouldn't happen. I can understand the frustration Australians feel about overuse of welcomes to country. I feel that at times. Often, actually. I think it is overused. And as a result, I think I think they are devalued by overuse. I would like to see them used less and therefore not devalued as I think they have been over time. It's up to individual organising committees to decide whether they want to do it or not, but the general principle should be let's do this less and make it more special when it happens.
And don't boo.
Well, absolutely not boo. Absolutely not.
Angus Taylor, thank you for joining us this morning.
Good to be with you, David.
All right, well.